What is up, guys? We are back with another episode. We got Ricky, our main man, over there in the center. We got the talented, wannabe talented, just kidding, not a talented Mr.
We
Taco.
see we seen the baseball drafts. It's talent.
Hey, yeah, no, those drafts came out
Wannabe,
pretty
yeah, we said
solid, man.
wannabe.
I'm mad I missed one of those with Ricky, man. I was really looking forward to seeing how he did his, but we'll get his team and I'm
We'll
sure
bring
we'll
that
analyze
back.
some of that. We'll absolutely bring that back. So stay tuned for that, guys. We'll have more of Ricky on his team. But getting back to it over here, we really got a special one. I think with the NBA coming back, everybody's excited with baseball today. But the NBA, we got a real interesting topic here. Ricky, you're gonna break it down for us and how that eighth seed is gonna work. I think that's what really we're gonna focus on today. What do you guys think on this eighth seed? Really, this is what we're discussing, and Ricky's gonna break down to us how it's gonna be a little bit different this year in the bubble, how that eighth seed on the Western Conference is gonna break down.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? It's 16 playoff teams, as we all know. So the AC basically it's a little different this year. So basically, even if you're not in the AC, you still have a chance at the playoffs. If you're in ninth place and you're within 4 games of the eighth seed, you still get to play a game against the eighth seed. I believe if the AC loses, you play a second game and to determine who wins and gets the final 8 spot. So again, if you're within 4 games of the AC, you do get a game against them to determine if you get a second game to determine the final spot.
Super interesting. I mean, doesn't that open the door up to a lot of teams, really?
Yeah. So right now, in the West, I think right now in the East, the only team right now that really, if you want to say, has a shot is.
And while he's looking up, I just want to clarify one thing. Only one team will get a shot to play in, and that's the 9th seed. So if we have 2 seeds that are within that 4-game threshold, only the higher of the 2 seeds, the 9th seed, will get a shot to battle the 8th seed. But like you were saying about the East, Ricky, finish up.
Yeah, so right now, the Wizards right now only have really the realistic shot, you would say, because they're 5 games within the Magic
Gotcha.
for the 8th seed. The West, though, right now has Grizzlies in the 8th spot, but the Blazers, Pelicans, Kings all are within 3.5 games, and the Spurs are within 4 games of the 8th seed. Spurs are within 5 games.
I mean, if you look at that and the competitiveness on just that alone, that tells you that we're in for a nice little run for that ace spot. And I mean, to me, that's interesting, right? And I just want to hear you guys' thought behind if those guys are all vying for that playoff spot. It's almost like that's their chip. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. A lot of sports analysts and sportscasters out there have been saying that eighth spot is going to probably be the hungriest team. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think, Taco, about whoever might sneak in? Do you think they're going to have a good performance against that number 1 seed, which obviously right now is still the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Right now the number 1 seed is the Lakers. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is the most interesting position, or not position, but battle that's going to happen in the NBA for the first 8 games, just because there's so many teams in it. Right now, the 8th seed is the Grizzlies, like was said, and 2 top teams I feel like are vying for that 8th spot, who in normal seasons, I don't see them as normal 8th seeds. I think if they were fully healthy, you would have seen the Blazers, who last year were, in the Western Conference Finals. I would see them a lot higher. Dame left at the end of the season because he had a groin injury, which really started the Blazers to sputter. Also, they had lost their center, who they had traded for from the year before from Denver, Nurkic, over there in Portland, and that really hampered, I think, their chances for the season, and it really lowered where they ended up. So I don't think that the Blazers are a typical 8 seed, and I don't think the Pelicans, who had Zion Williamson, who was out for mostly the start of the season, are a typical 8 seed as well. So I do agree with a lot of the analysts when they're saying that It could be an interesting matchup for the Lakers. I'm actually predicting that it's going to be a harder matchup, the 8th seed, the first round for the Lakers than the second round, because these two teams that they could possibly face in either the Pelicans or the 3 teams, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Blazers. All of them match up really well with the Lakers, who are going to come in missing Rajon Rondo, and they're going to be missing Avery Bradley. So that's going to stop them on the perimeter from getting 2 of their best premier defenders. Yes, they signed Dion Waiters. Yes, they signed J.R. Smith. But knowing that they're missing their top flight defenders is really bad or really scary in a position when you can either face Drew Holiday from the Pelicans, who's a fantastic guard. You could face Ja Morant, who's the most explosive point guard prospect that we have in the league, or you're going to be facing Damian Lillard, who is one of the top 5 players at the spot and probably in the league, period. So I agree. I think the Lakers are going to have
I mean, you said a lot on that. So I really, from that standpoint, you think that 8th seed basically is going to make some noise. But do you think, and then I want to touch on Ricky and your thought on that, but do you think that 8th spot, once it's solidified, that they're going to have a competitive outlook, even possibly win that first
yeah.
seed?
I mean, without a question, win. They definitely will have a shot. That series is going at least 6, maybe 7, with the Lakers being down. If the Lakers were fully healthy at point guard, I don't say that. But with them being weak right now, yes, the Lakers are right now in a scary position.
Okay, all right. So, but you're not going as far as saying winning, right?
I would say I would have to see if it's either the Pelicans or the Blazers. Yes, I can 100% see them.
So more to come. Let's hear Ricky.
I think it's going to be a fun series. I don't know what Steve's talking about. It's going to be a fun
I know.
series.
I don't know. I think
it's going to be a fun series.
I'm not the only one saying this.
With Steve. It's a fun series because the teams are going to be young. Even if it's the Grizzlies, it's a fun series.
Definitely.
With Ja, with even with Jackson, right? With Justin, with Winslow, with Clark, all of them. It really is a young team. Grizzlies is
definitely
to me is a sleeper. It's a good team if they get in there. I like the Pelicans as well as Steve says. Ja just I'm not saying passing of the torch, but you get that little feeling with LeBron against Zion. That's what the NBA would like everything to be like. But again, you get some that feeling. But again, fun series. No, they're not going to win.
Listen,
the Pelicans. Taco, let's give Ricky some clarity here. So let him finish out his thought.
I don't even know if it goes 6-7 games. I don't know what Steve's talking about. I don't know if it goes 6-7 games. Okay,
I think
LeBron is ready for this series right now. Is ready for July 31st. By that time, he'll have that energy pumping. That adrenaline will be running. He'll be ready for that because he'll be rusty these 8 games.
Yeah.
These 8 games, he'll be rusty. Yeah. He'll get all the rust out of these 8 games. Yeah. That's what this will be, a warm-up for LeBron. Won't mean anything. I don't care. I hope they bash him these 8 games. It won't mean anything these 8 games. It'll be nothing. It's a warm-up, tune-up. It's just to get his blood pumping.
Yeah. And
nothing for these 8 games.
And what's your thought then?
And people like Steve will be saying, oh, look, the AC will have a shot. And then LeBron will come in and obliterate them. And the AC will maybe win a game. Will be astonished, will be happy, and we'll give that city
I'll take money on that. I'll take real life money on any
more than here we go. We got action
at least 6 or 7. If it's the Pelicans, I see it at least going 6 or 7.
It's not going 6 or 7.
You guys got some.
I got some LeBron pulling it out, but 6-7, yeah. One game win. What?
It'll be good 4 or 5 good, very competitive games.
And here's the thing. I mean, obviously, you got both sides of the spectrum here, guys, right? You got Ricky really standing strong with saying the Lakers, and just to give you guys a little bit of my thought, I mean, I'm more leaning towards a Ricky side on that, because realistically, on a shortened season, I think LeBron, AD, these guys are going to be coming so hungry. There's going to be a short season for them to go in there, win a chip, and then maybe some people are even, Barkley was talking about this is a contested chip, there's a contested champion. So I don't know. I just think that they are they're going to probably have some of that pressure off if they kind of can put this championship in the in the pocket. But that's just my thought. But I do think it'll be a good series, like Ricky's saying. I just don't think it'll be a fun series. I'll go with that. I'll go with fun. I don't know that Taco, that I would say that they're gonna go 6 or 7. That would really, I think that would really hurt a little bit of the legacy a little bit too. Again,
LeBron is sweating this series.
Yes,
that is LeBron sweating.
That is true.
This series out.
Here's the reason why I'm saying this, though.
Yeah, let's hear it.
When you look at what's happening with the Lakers, you've lost 2 of your best defensive players at guard. So now what are you going to do? Who's creating the offense? Now you're putting every single thing on LeBron James, where LeBron James is going to, for 40 minutes, have to run the offense, defend the point guard position, because he's going to play against John Morant or he's going to play against Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is going to eat J.R. Smith's lunch. Let J.R. Smith get on the floor versus Damian Lillard, and Lillard's going off for 40. You're going to tell me who's guarding Damian Lillard? You're putting LeBron in this all game?
When you have
figure what out. Who's guarding Lillard? Who's guarding CJ? Who's guarding their chick? This is when you losing one game.
When you have those 2 great players, they'll figure it out.
LeBron like Dame isn't that great though. Or Zion can't be Zion and Holiday, right? Zion and Holiday aren't as good as AD and Bron. But then when you add all the role players in, like Lonzo Ball, like Ingram, like those other guys, they have more weapons.
I mean, you got
just AD and you're talking just LeBron.
Which, by the way, 2 of the best players in the world right now.
So, they count for 2 players each. They count for almost a whole team.
But matchups make styles makes fights, right? Like they say, right?
But let me tell you something.
If you don't have any guards, how do you beat a guard-heavy team?
Now when it comes to those 2 players,
Taco, I think you're going a little far out.
You're saying I'm saying 6 or 7 games. I'm saying the Lakers win, but this is a 6 or 7 game series because styles makes fight.
Taco, let's hear Ricky on his thought on that one though.
Certain players in any sport where you just say, you know what? There's just certain players in this sport, not against all players, matchups, schemes, everything. Mm-hmm. They just don't. They're out the window for a minute. Mm-hmm. Not these 2 players, they're just out the window. There's a different animal when they get to the playoffs. They tell everyone to huddle around and they say, listen, they're not better than us. They're gonna tell the other players, you do here, and that's what's gonna happen.
And
but
what do you think?
That's not fair. He's won his chips. He's got there 7 times. He's taken teams that have no reason to get to the playoffs, let alone to the finals. He's put that on their back. Okay. I've never seen a player.
I mean,
players do that.
I agree. I mean, listen, as a man, a Knick fan for all these years, and really counting on our boy Melo over there, which I love. I still love Melo. I'm not knocking. I think he had a lot to carry on his back too with that team, but obviously front office makes a difference too, and I can see Taco's side about a team and how a team makes a difference, obviously with having everybody at the 1 through 5 being
not only that. My main point is with the Lakers in this position, they signed Rajon Rondo and they signed Green as the perimeter defenders. Now you're going to force LeBron James to have to play. There is no other person.
He's done it before, is what I'm saying. He's done it before.
If he's doing that, it opens up the floor.
It does.
And that's the big difference. If you were going through the regular season, he had Bradley and he has Rondo.
So and Taco's going out on a limb here, and basically he's pretty much saying that it's going to be a toss-up. Is what you're saying? What guys? I mean, Taco's literally saying this could be a toss-up because if you're saying that 6 or 7, he's saying that 6 or 7.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
That's
It's the
even in a
it's
shortened
only those
season.
two teams. There's only two teams I say that for. If it's the Blazers or if it's the the Pelicans. If it's one of those two teams, yes.
I can make you a bet that it won't go to 7 games. Any of those two teams.
I say
Yeah,
those 6 or 7. 6 or
Any
7.
of those two teams.
It's going. If it's one of those two teams that's going 6 or 7, I'll gladly put 20 on that. I'll
fine.
gladly.
We got money on that.
That's a light little, but you know that's how much.
Nothing big. $20.
Nothing big.
That's
They
it.
don't get any of those two teams they face.
Yeah,
it won't go 6 or 7 games.
It'll go 6 or 7.
I'll take 10 on that action. Let's go.
Let's go. This is why it's fun, baby. I like to go out. You know, tacos out on Front Street. That's what I do. You know,
because it won't go 6 or 7. LeBron's ending that in a sweep or 5.
A sweep. He's gonna sweep Zion.
Yeah, I think I'm really leaning on that.
He'll sweat and he'll be tired as hell. And he'll ache and he won't show it till he gets to the hotel room and he knocks out. But he's not gonna let that young buck show him up.
So all right, how about this? At least everyone on
I agree on that part. I think LeBron. I think I think it's gonna hurt. Here's what I'll say, Taco, and I'll let you finish your thought. But I think that it'll hurt a little bit more on the legacy.
Showing all the muscles.
I think LeBron's coming to play. I think LeBron's gonna have
I think they'll win. I think they'll win the series. I just think
you can't go out and say that they're gonna go 6-7.
It will
and think it. I mean, you said yes, it's a toss up.
What you're saying about LeBron? LeBron is that good.
You are saying
I just think I'm like Ricky.
That's what he's saying.
Blowout. I think it's
Game 7 is 50-50, Steve.
Absolutely.
Game 7 is 50. If you're
I got Bron pulling that out. I got Bron pulling that out. Yes, I got Bron pulling that out. Yes,
that's some bold predictions, guys. It's some bold predictions.
I mean, I'm not saying or Stephen A. Whoever said that there was. You said there's a top named analyst that has the Blazers beating the Lakers, so it's not like I'm coming out of left field here.
Listen.
Creates a matchup problem for the Lakers. He does. It's just period.
And listen, Damon he's obviously the star for the Blazers. He's a tremendous player, and nobody's saying that he is not capable of winning a series. But when we're talking about AD and LeBron, I think that they'd be probably a little bit too much to a Blazer team that doesn't really. Listen, this is just my thought, but don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it isn't. You know, anything is possible. But at the end of the day, that's where I put the odds on that. Anything is possible. I don't put it on the heavier odds as you're kind of saying this 50-50 shot that you're kind of putting it out there like LeBron and the Lakers are probably going to lose. So that's just my thought.
Those two teams aren't normal 8 seeds. They had a lot of injuries. Damian Lillard was out for a good portion with the groin. Nurkic was out for a big portion. The Blazers are scary. They went to the conference finals last year.
No, I agree. Listen, the Blazers are a scary team. I agree.
I was going to say before that I think I can get everyone on board with. The Lakers' second round won't be as hard as their first round.
All right, we'll see. We'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see on that. That's why I'm glad we made some of these predictions. I love that, we were thinking about the 8 seed. I know that we had some sleeper pick. Is that Ricky? Is that going to be the sleeper pick that we were thinking about?
No. We're going to do one pick that's not the Lakers or that's not the Clippers to actually win the NBA title.
Yeah. Oh, we're saying that on the 8th seed? We're saying that here on the 8th seed? We're dropping that on this one?
Yep, that's a nice little bonus for them.
All right.
Look, I think we all could agree it's the Lakers or Clippers are going to win it. I mean, we both, I think we were talking off air, Steve and I. Mm-hmm. We were going to say Milwaukee, but that's not really like a sleeper pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That's the only other team that could probably win it.
And they're probably the best to come out of the East, so they have.
And that's the best to come out of the East. Mm-hmm. He says the Celtics. I can't see any other team coming out of the East.
No, I said the Heat. I said the Heat.
Oh, the Heat. Oh, yeah. We both agree. The Heat.
Yeah, that's
Celtics as well.
That's an interesting pick.
Well, we said the Heat, but we both have different picks because
gotcha.
We're not going to go with the Heat as well, but we did like the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to go with the Rockets.
Oh, the Rockets, man, with D'Antoni.
Yeah, just for the pure fact, look, They have Harden. Dude, when you have a talent like that, MVP like that, I mean, you can't go wrong. And then you have Westbrook. Steve's not a big Westbrook fan. I get it. But, well, I don't, because to me,
I don't either.
I think he's, whether you think he's, Steve always brings up his shooting percentage. I get it. He takes a lot of shots, gets his buckets, but he averages a triple-double. Whether you want to call that effort, that's something basketball players can't do. That's stamina, that's work ethic, that's hustle. That's not something you easily get in basketball players.
Westbrook is an explosive player. Yeah.
Right. That's an aggressive player. That's leadership. That's everything that you want in a basketball player. That's something I would want. If he wanted to sign with the Knicks today, I'm taking him.
All day. Please sign on the dotted line.
I'm taking him. I know he takes a lot of shots. He takes bad shots, but I'm taking Westbrook. So when you have two talents like that, listen, they get hot. This is almost like a little tournament. It's another season. They get hot. You put them in a little tournament like this. That's how it feels like. No fans. All of a sudden, they get going. They can pull it out.
And I can agree. I can stand behind that pick too, Ricky. I like that as one of the picks.
I don't see another team that has two players like that can face up to, again.
They've been right there every year. I mean,
and then like I was telling Steve, when you talk about talent like LeBron and AD, not that they're on that level, but when you have talent like that, there's no other team that has talent like that could just take over a game, because they can. If they get hot, they could take over a game.
And here's the thing, Ricky, that I'll ask you.
Role players.
And here's what I'll ask you on that, and that's why that's more like a sleeper pick, because they haven't gotten the job done, right? And I know they got Westbrook now, and they made that switch with CP3 and everything. So you're thinking that as your sleeper pick, this could really put them over the hump with having Westbrook, is what you're saying on this one? Not going out and saying as your sleeper pick.
I think they have two mega talents that, if they get going, click right now, those two talents can get the other guys going to the point where they could take over the game. Those two talents have enough where they could win games.
And strong points coming out of Ricky.
Somehow they could keep up with LeBron and AD, where they're in the final shot to win the game, because their talents alone can keep up with them. And again, their lineup is not like Tucker hasn't hit big shots.
Yeah,
Tucker has hit big shots.
PJ has
shown talent in LA. Covington gets going. Chandler.
So that's a great sleeper pick. That's a great sleeper pick. So, I mean, you guys hear it there with Ricky basically going the Rockets. I'm sure it's not because they both start with an R, right, Ricky?
No.
Just kidding. But let's throw it back to Taco and hearing what your sleeper pick is, Taco. What do you got?
And one thing I do want to say, I do like the Rockets. I don't have them as my number one sleeper, but for all the reasons Ricky had said, Westbrook shows a lot of heart, and I think Harden is on that level of like an AD and like a LeBron.
I'll say I agree.
He's right there. There's no difference between them. He's put up historic numbers. But the one question that I have with the Rockets, and I'm going to throw it to you, Ricky, so I'm not seen as being biased here. Who's playing center for the Rockets when they're facing up against AD? Wilson Chandler at 6'8"? Tyson Chandler. We're bringing him back. That's why I'm there. That's the only reason why.
I think their backup is,
because if they're going to play the Lakers, that's the direct player they're going to have to match up with. And
that is who they're playing.
40 points every night.
Don't make Ricky change his pick.
No, not changing. I said it.
Here's what I'll say. Just to finish that, because again, I do like but I think, and this is why I say that the first round may be harder for the Lakers than the second, because if they get the Rockets in the second round, AD is set up to dominate, just because there's no big man on the Rockets. And I think they can play a fast-paced game with them, and I think the Rockets are interesting because they have those young guys. But the team that I'm taking is actually one that has put out the tallest lineup like ever, I think, in the Nuggets. I mean, they have some height, they have some length. We've seen Bol show up in the bubble. looking like the stud. A lot of people slept on him during the draft that he could be. And we watched him in the green room. We saw that he got overpicked. He didn't get value. He didn't get picked to 44. They thought he'd be a lottery pick. And this kid showed up and balled out. In the last game, he had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks. Like, who puts up 6 blocks and 10 rebounds? He was hitting from 3, and they had Jokic playing the point guard. So I think with the size that a team like Denver really puts up there, you still have great scorers in Jamal Murray. You have Will Barton out there. God forbid anything happens with Porter Jr. and him showing up, Michael Porter Jr., the young kid. They have a lot of dynamic players. You still got Paul Millsap there. I think that team in Denver is really a team that's going to push, especially a team like the Lakers, far, because they can match up in size-wise. You can go down low against a Davis, and you're not going to slow a Davis down or stop a Davis, but you can compete with them because Jokic can go out and shoot the 3, which is going to force Davis to not play around the rim. And I think that's a great matchup, seeing the Nuggets and the Lakers, and I really hope the NBA gets that matchup.
Well, you guys,
my only thing with them, I think they face, if things stand,
the Clippers. Probably
they face Oklahoma.
I think they do Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like Oklahoma.
I like Oklahoma. But honestly, the thing about Oklahoma, I feel like
ever since Chris Paul got there,
I got to tell you guys that
they have a better offense than what they had last year.
And my thing about Oklahoma, I would love to see Oklahoma versus the Rockets. Because that would just be an amazing matchup. That would be you would get the best out of both players, all 3 players when we're talking about Harden, CP3, and Westbrook, because nobody's gonna want that over them. Nobody's gonna want, especially CP3 being
sorry. The Nuggets, they get Rockets.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be amazing. Yeah. Our 2 sleeper teams battling it out. That'll be great. I think that's a bad matchup for the Rockets. And I believe in the NBA styles really make the matchups. But just to clarify, who did you have as your team winning the 8th seed, Ricky? You had the Pelicans? Yeah.
The 8th seed?
Yeah.
No, Grizzlies.
You have the Grizzlies keeping the 8th seed.
Yeah, keeping the 8th seed, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. I say that we got so many topics there to cover. If you leave us to have some battles on every pick, especially Taco, we all know Ricky. He's gonna give it to us on every pick and every decision we make that might not be his. So we're not gonna give him a shot to just battle us or try to bully a pick. And we heard your statements, Taco. We appreciate them. Let's hear and see what they do towards the end of the season here on this A spot. Thanks for sticking around to giving us that sleeper pick. But we got more to come, guys. There's a lot of coverage coming, especially with sports being back. Stay tuned. We appreciate you guys watching. There's been a lot of growth. So we appreciate all that from you guys. And we'd love to hear some questions, man. On some of these, we're going to hop on and answer some questions. So yeah, feel free to send some our way. All right, guys, take care and we'll be back.
Take care, guys.